Hi, good morning, Optavians. Welcome to Medifast Mondays. My name is Donna. I'm an independent Optavia coach, and I'm here to share with you some of my favorite fueling hacks and lean and green recipes. Today, what I'm going to make for you is a lean and green recipe. Actually, this is going to make 2 servings, so I'm going to do, once it's finished, I'm going to do it in 2 different ways. So that's why I'm calling it Crack Slaw 2 ways. What I want to do first is I'm going to use for this recipe, I'm going to use ground turkey. You can use, and I have used before, I've used bison for this. You could use ground beef, you could use ground pork. Just make sure you get some really lean ground pork. You could actually grind your own pork if you use a pork tenderloin, and then just grind it up yourself. That way you know that it's really extra lean. But anyway, or the regular turkey. I always use the 99% fat-free turkey just because I like it, and then you get a little bit more of it too. So I'm going to start my skillet and get this going. Yeah, this is it's actually very filling. It's very good. You can adjust the amounts of vegetables that you put in it however you want to do it. Depends on what you're going to use it for. In this particular case, I could use more vegetables, but because one of the recipes is going to be a lettuce wrap, I'm not adding quite so many. That way I get, a little extra vegetables vegetable serving to compensate for the lettuce wrap. That didn't really come out good, did it? Very wordy there, very wordy. Anyway, so I got my pan heating up. I'm going to use the full package of the turkey. Let me just rinse my hands off here. And then to that, I'm going to add, because turkey's got to have seasoning. I don't care what you do, turkey's got to have seasoning. To that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of minced garlic. And remember, this is going to be 2 servings so all of the condiments and things that I'm using is going to be divided by 2. So, teaspoon of minced garlic. That was a squeaky sound. And then in here, I have about 1/16 of a teaspoon each of salt, pepper, and onion powder. And this is just to give it a little more flavor. Because like I said, turkey, you got to have flavor in the turkey. So just kind of stir that up. We're going to get this browned, and then I'm going to remove it from the pan because I want to cook the vegetables and then add the meat back in. I don't want the meat to be like overcooked and like totally dry. So anyway, I'm going to just get this browned up. As you're cooking it, you can crunch it up into smaller pieces, however you like it. Some people like bigger chunks. I don't really care. Because by the time you're done with it, yeah, we're just going to divide this in 2 and see what we can come up with. Okay. So it usually takes, I don't know, between 5 to 8 minutes to get this browned up pretty good. Don't cook it on too high of it. I've got this on medium. Don't cook it too high because you don't want to cook all the moisture out of it, and then you just have dry, crumbly things. So anyway, I hope everyone's having a great week so far, and you're sticking to plan and all of that. Just hang in there. It's easy to do once you get the hang of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and let this finish cooking, and then I'll be back. There's no need for you guys to watch me cook the turkey. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it before, right? So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So my turkey is cooked. It's cooked up pretty good. So, that's what this needs to look like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dump it on a plate because I'm going to dump it back. Like I said, I'm going to take it out and then put it back in a little bit as soon as I get the vegetables done. Shh. Thing, it just drives me crazy that it beeps anytime the pan is removed. So like if you're, if you're trying to saute something and flipping it, the whole time you're doing it, it's a beep, beep, beep. Drives me crazy. Believe me, if I could figure out how to turn that off, I would, but I don't know. I haven't found the no beep zone yet. So that's done. And then I'm going to turn my pan on high to do the, just to at least start the vegetables, just because I want them to steam up pretty good. So what I have 3 cups of cabbage, and I have a half a cup of diced bell peppers. I use the different colored ones. These are red, yellow, and orange. You can use just regular green peppers if that's what you have, or if you don't want to use peppers and you want to use something else like zucchini or something instead, that's fine too. This is all up to whatever vegetables you put in it, other than the cabbage. I mean, the cabbage is what makes it the slaw. But other, bell peppers or whatever you want to use is fine. So I'm going to get my pan pretty hot. I'm not going to put any oil in this. This is a nonstick pan. It doesn't need it. I am going to add some oil in a minute when I get the vegetables going, but not yet. So I just want to get these sauteed up. There's actually a little bit of turkey left in there. If you're not using turkey that is 99% lean, be sure you drain your meat. This doesn't get, there's no like anything that comes out of it. But like if you're using, if you decide to use bison or something like that, or beef or pork, then do drain the meat so you don't get all that extra fat in there with your vegetables and stuff. Love the smell of bell peppers. So yesterday I went to lunch with my friend Sam. We went to Red Robin. I had a salad, which was everything that was in the salad was on plan. I did eat a couple fried dill pickles though. So today I'm kind of, paying for it. As you know, if you eat a carb, if you're on this plan and you actually eat more carbs than you're supposed to, all the water just like attaches to it, and so when you see that the next day on the scale, it's like, oh my God, what did I do? But just drink lots of water and it'll come out. Just it's just that first initial, oh my God. So I wasn't happy this morning when I got on the scale, but what do you do? We had a good time yesterday. It was fun. And other than that, I mean, I took my own salad dressing. I was good, and nothing else I ate was not on plan. Yeah, so the fried pickles, they were good. And I really considered it before I ate them, so it's okay. My camera's out of focus. Gross. Okay. So the bell peppers, you just kind of want to sweat them, and you'll smell them. Get a little caramelization going on them. You'll smell them as they start to cook. Yeah. See? So once they get, a little caramelized and get, a little softened, we're going to dump in the cabbage. And remember, this is 2 servings, so the cabbage, typically the rule with cabbage is raw cabbage cooks down half of what it was. So if I start with 3 cups of cabbage, it's going to cook down to 1.5 cups, which is going to be divided by 2, which is going to be, 27.5. I don't know. I don't want to do the math. I don't want to do math. Anyway. Yeah, so if I'm cooking 3 cups of cabbage, it's going to cook down to 1.5 cups. Yeah. So, and then divide that by 2. Yeah, it'd be 3/4 of a serving of vegetables. Anyway. Again, I don't want to do math. So, and then just kind of keep stirring this. Shit. Of course. I always manage to get it out of the pan. Man overboard. Okay. So you want to wilt the cabbage down to where, because you don't want it to stay like raw, but a little bit crispy is fine. But let's get it wilted down a little bit before we add the seasonings and stuff. I'm just going to pop a lid on it for just a couple seconds. Kind of help with the wilty wilt. A little bit. And then once we add the seasoning and stuff in there, it'll wilt a little bit better too. But I just want to get it kind of cooked. And because I have it on high, I want to keep stirring it. Because I don't want it to like burn, because it will. If you let it sit for too long, it will. guess no, that wouldn't be right. Because if it cooks down, if 3 cooks down to 1.5, yeah, I don't know. See, I confuse myself. I start mathing and then I get myself confused unless I sit and like write it down. Okay. Yeah, because 1.5 cups is 3 greens. I don't know. So now I'm going to stress about it. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty wilty. Okay. So what I'm going to add to this now is all the flavorings and the things that are going to make it yummy. Okay. First thing I'm going to add is 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Sesame oil is on your healthy fat list, so you can have this. And I would make sure that if you're having this, that you haven't added anything to any of your fuelings for the day, so that you don't end up with too much condiments or healthy fats or whatever. So that's why it's kind of a good idea to like plan your meals for the week. Just because you know what you're going to have that night for your lean and green, so you know what you can add or not add to your fuelings during the day, if that makes sense. Anyway, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. Okay, if you can, use the fresh because it's got a better flavor than the powdered ground. I mean, if that's all you have, the powdered ground, then use that. But the fresh ginger really adds something to it. Okay, so we've got the ginger. I have 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. 1 condiment on that is a tablespoon. Okay. Then, because we want a little kick to it, I've got 1.5 tablespoons of Frank's. This is the buffalo sauce, but you could use the regular Frank's too if that's what you have. But I happen to like the buffalo sauce, so I'm going to add that to that. 1.5 tablespoons. And I'm just going to let that cook up for a second, get all the flavors melded together. I've seen this recipe where they add Splenda or sugar to it, but to me it doesn't make that big of a difference in the flavor. So I don't want to use the condiment. I would rather use the condiment for something that I really like. I'm not a big sugar fan. I never have been. Splenda, I'll use Splenda once in a while when I cook, but not that often. I don't typically use sugar in anything. Or Splenda or stevia or whatever, the sweetener, artificial crap. All right, so this is smelling delicious. Shit. Sorry. So I'm wearing this because as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go work out and make up for my fried pickles I had yesterday and try to get some of the sodium and the carbs moving through my system. And get rid of that, so when I get on the scale tomorrow morning, it won't be quite so drastic. Okay, so I'm going to dump the turkey back in. Give it a stir. And again, you can adjust your vegetables however you want. I mean, if you want to use a little bit more of something and a little bit less of something, then that's fine. It's all up to you. I'm just giving you a general idea of, maybe the flavorings and stuff that you can use in this. Okay. Sorry, I've said a bad word twice, haven't I? Sorry, I've really been trying. Does anybody make New Year's resolutions this year? Mine was just to get back on plan and just, do what I'm supposed to be doing and stop misbehaving like I did through the holidays. so I think this is done. So what I'm going to do is, here, I'll show you. I'm going to turn this off so it doesn't beep. Okay, see? Oh, and it smells really good too. Yeah, and if you don't like the hot sauce or whatever, use some ground chili flakes. That's fine. Just, you know, again, I'm just giving you a general idea of what you can use to flavor this with. The chili flakes, I would always use the soy sauce in this and the sesame oil because I like that flavor that it gives. Also, hang on, I'll be right back. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You know, I'm a huge Walden Farms fan, so if you happen to have either the sesame ginger or the Asian, you could use this, like, because you're making 2 servings, you could use 4 tablespoons of either one of these instead of all of the things that I just put in there, except the Franks. I'd still add the Franks just because I like the extra kick. But this would be just as good. I didn't use these this time because I figured not everyone is going to have this. But if you have this on hand, use it. You know, and actually I've marinated meats in these before and they actually turn out pretty good. So I'm not endorsing the product. I'm just telling you what I use and what I like and, you know, what you can use instead. Okay, so I'll put those away in a second. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to weigh this out. You don't need to watch me weigh it out. I'm going to do it half and half because, like I said, I'm going to make 2 different recipes out of this. So I will be back in a minute after I get it weighed out and divided up, and I'm ready for the next step. Okay, so I have my cracked slaw all weighed out and divided up. It was a total of 744 grams, and I divided it down to 372 grams per serving. It's a giant bowl of this stuff. Okay, so, and then I did take a look at the math on this. Hang on, I did do it. I did figure it out for you guys. So per serving is 1 leanest, 1.5 greens, 2.5 condiments, and 1/2 a healthy fat. Okay, so remember that as you're adding to it, and then as we make the recipe, we'll know, you know, we can add a little bit more. So because I've only got 1.5 greens, I can add a couple more. So what I've done is I have some romaine lettuce leaves. So I just, like, you know, washed them up, dried them off, and then weighed them out. So this is the equivalent of what would be a cup if I chopped it up. So it's like 28 grams or something, 28.3 grams or something like that. Ask Alexa, she'll know. So what I'm going to do is just spoon this into these. You can make them as full as you want, because you're just going to kind of fold them up and eat them like a little taco type of affair. And because this is already measured out per, you know, by serving, it, you know, doesn't really matter if you get a little more on one and not enough on the other. I don't care. Okay. This one. Yeah, this makes a lot of food. And, you know, if you didn't do the lettuce wrap thing and just wanted a big bowl of cabbage and the meat and stuff, add some more vegetables to it. It's okay. Just make sure you're not going over your, you know, your 3 servings. See, they're kind of, my lettuce cup runneth over. All right. So I think that would get messy when you pick it up. So because I have a little bit more of an allowance, because the 1 cup of lettuce, the romaine, sorry, that was my train of thought. I still need another 1/2 of a serving of vegetables. So I'm going to top this with some diced tomatoes. So I've got a 1/4 cup of diced tomatoes, and I'm just going to dump those on a little bit on each one. And then if you wanted to, you could put, you know, some sliced green onions, you know, the scallions. That would be good on that too. In fact, yeah, that'd be good. And do like maybe 1/8 of a cup of tomatoes and then 1/8 of a cup of the scallions. It's up to you. And then to finish this off, I've got 1/2 half a tablespoon of sesame seeds. I've toasted these. So just if you've not toasted sesame seeds before, just turn your pan on high, stick the sesame seeds in there. Make sure you keep moving them around. And then just because they'll start to toast and they'll release their flavors. You'll smell it when they're about done. So I'm just going to sprinkle those on there. And this, again, the sesame seeds are considered a healthy fat. So this is actually half a healthy fat because you get a tablespoon of sesame seeds for healthy fat. And because we've already used, remember we used the sesame oil, which was a half a healthy fat. So now we have a full healthy fat with this. Okay. Ooh. Half a tablespoon of sesame seeds is a lot of damn sesame seeds. Just saying. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then also if you wanted to, you could use a little more sauce on this because there's like a half a condiment left. You could also dump a little of the Walden Farms on there. A tablespoon of that is a half a condiment. So, you know, just to give it a little more flavor. But there it is. Lettuce wraps made with the cracked slaw. These are really good. This is a very filling amount of food too. So this is, you know, pretty much your entire lean and green, but dang, it's really good. And it smells good too. I am not going to eat this until later on. So probably what I'll do is take the meat off and then heat it up because I don't know if I'd like this cold or not. Oh, it might be pretty good cold. I know it's damn good hot. So anyway, so let me get, that's recipe number 1. So let me get all of this cleaned up and then we'll move on to the second one. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so on to recipe number 2. I am going to use the same cracked slaw we just made to make egg rolls. So for my wrapper, I'm going to use, remember I made tortillas or crepes out of the pancake mix. I'll link that video up there. That's what these are. So I made some this morning. I'm only going to make one of these and simply because I'm not going to have this probably until tomorrow night for dinner, and I don't want to make these up and then have them get all soggy because I want them to stay crispy. You know, they're supposed to be like egg rolls, not. But these tortilla things, once they get moist and stuff, they kind of, you know, fall apart, and I don't want to have just a big pile of, you know, stuff for my dinner. So anyway, I'm going to take one of those. This is the leftover from the other half of the other recipe. And then depending on how big you've made your crepes, you can adjust the size. So if you've made like one big giant one, this would be good. If you like with the breakfast burrito video, I'll link that right there. If you just want to put this inside of, you know, a crepe that size, to put the whole thing in there. It's okay. Again, so it's however many you've used. So I'm just going to put probably, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon and a half of the mix in there, and then just kind of roll it up like an egg roll and hope that I don't rip it. Okay. And then, so it looks like a little package like that. And then I'm going to put this in the air fryer to cook them and get them crispy. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil on them just because I'm afraid if I don't have a little bit of oil on them that they'll get too dried out. So this is just like a, oops, well here, let me do it this way because that didn't fan like it's supposed to. So let me just rub that on there. And then I'm going to pop this in the air fryer. As I said, I'm only doing one because I don't want to have soggy dinner tomorrow night because then I won't be in a good mood the next day. So anyway, I'll be right back. I'm going to go start the air fryer and get this in, and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so I have my air fryer going. I set it for 360 degrees, and I'm going to leave the egg roll in there for 4 minutes. Then I'm going to flip it over and cook it another couple minutes. I'll take a look at it and see how much more time I think it needs. I was going to tell you about this. This is my Evo sprayer. I don't know if you've seen these. I think you can get them like at Bed Bath & Beyond. I get mine at QVC, of course. But when you spray this, there's two different spray types. It's either, you know, a fan that goes this way or one that goes this way. Each pump of the sprayer is a 1/4 teaspoon of oil, so it's really easy to measure your oil with this. That way, if you're, you know, especially if you're using an air fryer, you don't want to use a lot of oil anyway, but just, you know, one squeeze, you know, it's a 1/4 teaspoon of oil. So, which is, you know, with the olive oil, that's a 1/4 of a condiment, or a healthy fat. Sorry, healthy fat, not condiment. So just keep that in mind if, you know, if you're looking for something to help you measure out your oils, this works really well. You could also put vinegars in it, like your balsamic vinegars, things that you use on your salads, or, you know, whatever. As long as it's liquid, it'll go in here. Just keep it in mind. Easy way to measure. So I will be back in a second when my air fryer goes off and I'm able to turn that little egg roll over, and then we'll go from there. I'll show you what they look like. I'll be back. Okay, so my little egg roll is done. There it is. Okay. I think I got a little too much stuffing. It didn't like really hold together, but this side kind of popped up. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's gonna get chewed up. So anyway, there it is. Because you have a little bit of vegetable allowance left, if you use this as your lean and green, I would serve this with some steamed vegetables. Remember, in the tortilla thingies is part of a egg substitute, so be sure you're counting that in your against your lean and green and with your condiments and healthy fats and all of that. So make sure that you're accounting for that. If you wanted to use that as lean, or your meat portion, then just take some of the meat out of the crack slaw, just whatever you figure it up to, just take that out of there, and then you don't have to worry about figuring out the condiments and stuff. So anyway, I personally would serve this with some steamed broccoli, and then for dipping, to dip this in, I'd probably use some Walden Farms Asian, or maybe some Chinese hot mustard. I mean, it might be good. I haven't tried it with Chinese hot mustard, but definitely the Walden Farms Asian or the sesame ginger, whichever one you have or don't have, or I have both, so I get my pick. So anyway, I hope you enjoy these recipes. If you have any questions or comments, my information is down below. I would ask that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I would appreciate it if you did. And thank you to all of you who have recently subscribed. I appreciate it. And again, questions, comments are always welcome. And I respond to everyone that emails me, or, so don't hesitate, and don't worry, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Really, the only stupid question there is the one that you don't ask. So again, have a great week, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.